Privyat Russi. Hello Russia. Please excuse my very poor pronunciation. It is a real joy to be able to join you at this very important event. An event where you will be sharing lots of thoughts, ideas and inspiration related to the subject of customer experience. And it is a real pleasure for me to be able to share some of my thoughts with you. My name is Yin Golding. I am a global customer experience specialist. And as of this week, I have had the real pleasure of working in 43 countries around the world over the last 8 years. And during that time, it has given me a very unrivaled ability to understand the trends, the things that are happening around the globe, and it is a pleasure to be able to share those trends with you. Because what I would like you to really get your heads around is that customer experience as a concept is not very difficult to understand, but it is causing many organizations in many parts of the world significant challenges. And that's why I'd like to share those challenges with you. And I have distilled my thoughts into 5 challenges that will ultimately and are ultimately turning into the big trends of focus wherever you happen to be in the world, from the United States, where I'm actually recording this video at the moment, to all the way to Australia and New Zealand and everywhere in between. So let me get cracking in terms of the challenges that I want to take you through. These are in no particular order, by the way. The first challenge that organizations are facing into is understanding the difference between customer experience and customer centricity. Customer experience has become the term that most organizations are using, and customer experience is the representation of everything an organization does to bring your products or services to your customer. The problem with customer experience is that customer experience is the mechanism, if you like, that delivers the product or service to your customer. But the customer experience itself is not what will lead to sustainable financial growth. What will lead to sustainable financial growth is customer centricity. Customer centricity essentially represents the culture, the environment that your organization has created to enable your people to think and act in the interests of the customer every time they do anything. The experience itself will need to continuously improve, but if it does not do so within that cultural environment that enables people to think and act in the interests of the customer, then the sustainable benefit of being focused on customer experience will not be realized. So the first trend is to really embed customer-centric thinking into your organization. So moving on to the next one. Too many organizations around the world are still seeing customer experience as a project, an initiative, a finite piece of activity. I once had a client say to me that, "Thanks for your help, Ian. We don't need help anymore. We did customer experience last year." Unfortunately, that is completely misunderstanding that customer experience actually is not a project, and in fact, it has always existed. Customer experience was being delivered the day your organization was created. And so ultimately, the challenge here is to convince your organization, the people you work with, that being focused on customer experience, becoming sustainably customer-centric, is not a project, it is a way of working. And it is a way of working that will need to embed itself indefinitely forever. The trend is for organizations to ensure that customer-centric behavior, managing the customer experience continuously, becomes the way an organization works. Moving on to challenge number 3. Challenge number 3 is that it is increasingly visible around the world that more and more leaders, organizations are talking about customer experience. It has become the buzz phrase of the moment. But just talking about customer experience does nothing. Regrettably, too many organizations around the world are doing customer experience by accident. What I mean by that is that they are talking about it, but they have not applied any intentional structure, rigor, to make the management of customer experience intentional. It is impossible for an organization to differentiate itself on the whole customer experience until or unless it has defined what it wants its customer experience to be in the first place. Today, most organizations are delivering what we call random experiences. In other words, as customers, when we interact with organizations, we never quite know what's going to happen. The challenge for organizations is to stop that accidental application leading to random experiences by implementing a structured approach to customer experience through the adoption of a framework, a way of ensuring that you are very, very intentionally applying what you want your customer experience to be. And when I talk about a framework, there are many types of framework that exist around the world, but a framework essentially defines the key components, the competencies that an organization must become mature in adopting to stop the experience being random and to make it intentional. So the trend is the increasing adoption of customer experience frameworks, typically in the form of a customer experience maturity model. So on to challenge number 4. The challenge that many customer experience professionals are facing around the world is that there is a significant amount of disbelief that focusing on customer experience, becoming customer-centric, makes money. It is vitally important that organizations understand that being customer-centric has a direct effect on financial performance. In fact, when you really look underneath the skin of what it means to think and act in the interests of the customer, what I'm essentially talking about is the ability of human beings to empathize with each other. Empathy is a word that may, on the face of it, sound soft and fluffy, but it absolutely has that direct link to financial performance. And this is the reason why. Empathy builds advocacy. In other words, it turns people into fans of your organization, advocates, supporters. A fan, an advocate, a supporter becomes loyal. A loyal customer is someone who comes back to you more often and will tell others about you. The more loyal customers you have, the more money you will make. Customer experience is absolutely aligned to making money. The key is that your focus on customer experience is balanced with your focus on what you want your business to achieve. Customer experience is effectively delivered through a strategic balance, aligning what the business wants with what the customer wants. And if you are able to create that alignment, then you are very likely to achieve sustainable growth. So the trend is for organizations to stop disbelieving that customer experience makes money and recognize that customer-centric thinking will have an absolutely positive effect on your ability to achieve your financial goals. Moving on to the last challenge. And the last challenge is very, very important to me personally, and that is the challenge of education. Too many organizations around the world think they know what customer experience is already. And as a result, they do not give their people any time to understand the science that customer experience has become. Yes, I use the word science. You may or may not be aware that customer experience is now a profession. And in fact, I was the first person in the world to be authorized to teach people to get the professional qualification in customer experience. It is called CCXP, or Certified Customer Experience Professional. And in fact, I am absolutely delighted to share with you, if you don't already know, that Olga Guseva has become the first CCXP in Russia. But that in itself is important. Right now, Russia has one person with the professional qualification. Globally, there are just over 1,000 people with the professional qualification. Customer experience is a brand new emerging profession, and the world needs to recognize that it doesn't really understand the science, and there is a need for a huge increase in the amount of education that is provided to organizations around the world. And again, it's why I am delighted to be working with Olga to bring the science of customer experience to Russia. So the trend is the increase in customer experience education and the adoption of customer experience as a science. I hope you have found my perspective on customer experience interesting and useful. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to reach out to me, either directly using something like LinkedIn or by connecting to me via Olga. I wish you a wonderful event, and I very much look forward to hearing how everything has gone. Thank you so much, everyone.